Okay, so welcome everybody to the Q&A session, our second Q&A session I should start my video. There it goes. For the 2024 Racers Edge Masters National Championships at Granite Peak in Wisconsin. The dates are February 5th to 10th. That 5th day is really just a registration check-in day. And then there'll be a training day on the 6th, and then racing starts on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
There was a question about parallel GS or slalom. It will be a parallel GS per the competition guide for US Ski and Snowboard. So that means a 20-meter max distance. So close to a slalom, but it's going to be a 20-meter max distance, and we'll be setting at that maximum distance. So one question that people are asking me, and I'm sure asking Lauren and others, is what skis to use. And, you know, that's a tough one. I don't know. Not 27-meter skis, unless you're a beast, I would say.
I think cheater GS, if you got something like that, would probably be a fun one to have in the back pocket.
Yeah.
And then what for Super G, what length skis do you normally run on this hill, Ryan?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
What have you run?
Well, 201 or 20. Wait, I've got 201 and 203 Super Gs, and they've worked okay. But I've also had good times on 192, or were they 195 GS skis?
Okay.
So it's pretty much the same set all the time. We set it pretty much the same way. So I think a shorter Super G ski is good. I mean, they're 40-meter turns. They're 35, 40-meter turns. So
Ryan or Lauren, there's a question. Does the parallel count towards the Division Cup and U.S. Masters team for 24?
For the team, yes.
For the U.S. Masters national team, yes. The Division Cup, I can't remember what we decided.
No, the Divisions Cup, it counts for the Divisions Cup and for
the national team.
The national team. The one that it does not count for is the overall award, which is the combination of the Super G, GS, and slalom.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yep. So, and officially, the result of the parallel GS is based upon qualifying rounds only. So the people who qualify for the elimination, that's going to be basically an extra fun award. So technically, everybody's result in the 2 qualifying runs are what will constitute your age class award, and that's what will be scored for the Divisions Cup and the national team.
The bracketed ski off is basically bragging rights and some sort of a special fun award.
Yes. Yep. Then the question, how did that decision come about? That was a decision by all the division chairs and the national committee. We had quite a bit of discussion on that, with proposals made by the race organizing committee to that group. And that's how that decision came upon, if that's good grammar.
Yeah, I would say that in general, whenever for our major events, like regionals, nationals, and speed series, the national committee group, which has one person representing each division, always has a very thorough discussion on, fairness and excitability and what makes great events and consistency year to year. So definitely a lot of thought that goes into those decisions. So always thank your division chairs for the extra time and energy they put into those. So the one thing I was going to pull up that we can look at is the trail map here.
While you're pulling that up, Lauren and Ryan and everyone else, I did have a question from one of our members here at Granite Peak who is in a sit ski. He's adaptive. What is I guess, is he allowed to compete as an athlete in this event, and how would that work as far as scoring?
Yes, he would be able to compete as an athlete. Typically, unless the person prefers not to go first, they would go first for adaptive skiers. For scoring, I guess that would be something we really haven't like incorporated at national level before. But I certainly think that we can have an adaptive category if that seems appropriate. Or if the person wanted to be part of their age class, that could be workable too. Generally with adaptive athletes, we just have a conversation and say what makes the most sense for them and for the event. Yeah, no, in Aspen, we had a couple sit skiers that would always forerun the downhill in Super G. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's competed here at the Midwest Masters event several times, so.
Okay.
He's legit.
He's got no fear.
Okay, so do you see the map?
Yes, we can see it. So, but just to be, we could not get Facebook running. So we're just going to record this and people can watch it after the fact.
Yep. We'll have to put it up. Yeah, for some reason the feed cut off, and because I have it like scheduled to 6:30 to 7:30, it won't let me do another live session.
Okay.
So looking at the whole map here, just give everybody a view. Can you point out at the bottom, Ryan? So we have these buildings here. Which one would you consider like the place most likely for people to boot up?
It will be probably the sun. Well, during the week, I don't know if the Sundance Chalet will be open. There's two buildings. Maybe this would be a better question for Greg to answer. But probably the Sundance if it's open. Otherwise, the Historic Lodge, which is the smaller structure in the middle.
That one.
That one. Yep.
Okay. So one of those two. Okay, that's good.
Which also has the bar for those wondering, and it's a great bar.
Very important.
Yep.
Okay, so as you can see, it's one chairlift we'll be using to access both races. We have exhibition here, and then is this one Sundance, right? On the side here.
More to your left.
Or no, over here, Sundance. So for accessing Sundance, will people take the other chairlift, or are both accessible? I don't know which way this.
No, everybody would up the Comet chairlift to the top, and then there's a small trail right at the top that you can barely see. It's called the Summit Trail.
Okay,
and it goes right. That's where the ski patrol building is. So there's a small A-frame at the top. That's where a ski patrol upper patrol room is, and I go right past that. Yeah, Copper. He's very excited to get over to Sundance.
Okay. All right. So there, Common Express for both race trails. That's helpful for people to know. And then for purchasing lift tickets, will we be able to purchase lift tickets at the registration period, or will all that be handled on the mountain?
We'll actually set up a separate QR code that people can purchase in advance, or they can purchase we can do it either at the Hilton or at the mountain. It doesn't matter.
Okay, but we'll be able to have a QR code so people could actually do that on their own devices when they get to registration?
Correct.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and then so then bibs and your racer packet you'll pick up at the registration, which is at the Hilton Inn. We will be sure to have that open the main registration period, and then kind of each morning make sure that someone's there and able to hand out bibs if you need to pick one up, if you're just coming up in the morning or something like that.
Lauren, can I interrupt? Sorry, can I interrupt? There was a question. I just want to make sure we answer those before we forget. There was just a question on tuning room. So at the Hilton, is it a bare room, or will there be benches for us to put our vices on? Thanks. So so the plan is to have, I think, 3 or 4 tables in there, set up, no vices, and then some floor covering. And that's pretty much it, but that should be enough, and a few chairs. So just bring vices and all your tuning gear, and you should be able to find a spot in there.
Okay.
You don't need to bring a table.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so then was gonna just look at the trail profile a little bit. We'll look at this one. As you can see, the trail kind of starts off a little mellow and then has a decent pitch, and then in this end area here, you put in some rollers.
Yeah, there's a shorter flat at the top. There will probably be a little terrain put in there, and then a good pitch. I think it maxes out at 42%. So that's what you see probably in my background. If you see my picture, that's the pitch. It's a good pitch. The snow's always awesome on this track. It's Midwest snow, so it's got a lot of moisture in it, and it firms up really good. So then there's kind of a compression at the bottom. Of course, this profile is not to scale in any way, but once you hit the bottom of that pitch, it does flatten out considerably, and there's a lot of terrain we're planning to blow into that hill, as we usually do. So it's actually probably the biggest challenge on the run to be able to ski fast. So you got to take as much speed as you can off of that pitch and bring it through the terrain we put on that long flat going into the finish. So it's definitely, there's a lot of gliding at the bottom, and you got to nail the pitch too, so you can carry as much speed onto there as you can.
So I guess in that respect, would you say it can be in some ways similar to like Cooper at the bottom, where you really got to make sure you're pumping terrain over rolls and stuff, and not losing speed?
And there's much more terrain. I mean, there's a lot of terrain. So depending on what they put in for us, which I hope will be similar to years past. So, I mean, you can get light even in GS. You can get a little light. So you really got to use your legs on it. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's one of the more fun GSs, I think. Certainly, I think it's probably the best GS in the Midwest, but it doesn't mean much to people listening from across the country. It's a fun race, Super G and GS.
Yeah. So speaking of the GS, this is just a profile of the GS we have here. What it looks like in the summer.
Yeah, GS and Super G are on the same hill. So the only difference, same start, the only difference is that the GS finishes a little higher up on that flat. So, and then obviously the turn shape. So.
Okay, and then for people that want to walk up to either of the finishes, do you have an estimate on how long that takes?
I don't know. What would you say, Greg or Tim? Probably 5-10 minutes, depending on your walking speed.
5-minute walk to the bottom of the GS for sure. Maybe 2-3 more minutes to the bottom of the slalom. It's not a far walk, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll will it be roped? Well, to the bottom of the slalom. How would people get to the bottom of the slalom on Sunday?
They just follow the same. It's the same run. So you would just go up from the historic and follow that green line right there. Exhibition finishes a little down the way, and then where the yellow is, you just kind of continue to follow the tree line.
Oh yeah, I got it. Because you'll hit after exhibition is, what is it, Elk?
Elk. Yeah, you just got to avoid the skiers coming down Elk, which there's plenty to see.
And would you recommend people wear like micro spikes, or just some like traction if they have them? Or not even?
I mean, I think if you had micro spikes on, you would be totally fine. I mean, any kind of really textured boot, you'd be able to walk. It's pretty firm walking up there.
Okay, great. Okay. Have any more questions? So one of the other questions that came up about shipping skis, I have not reached out to the hotel, but I have heard from other racers that have reached out to the hotel about shipping skis to them. So it sounds like that's going to be something that you can arrange. Just give them a call.
That's super helpful.
So one other thing I will run through here while I have my screen shared, just to give people a little bit of a visual if they still need help on how to get registered. If you have not raced, don't have an account from last year with adminskiracing.com, you'll be creating a new account, this button here. And then the two key things to remember is you're going to create your account, fill out all this information and submit it. And then you'll get an email that you need to check in. And then once you're
Lauren, what happened to you? Can't hear you. Is it just me or can no one hear Lauren?
I cannot hear Lauren.
Lauren, you went away. I don't think she knows that
I don't think she can hear us either.
Yeah.
So what she's showing is the registration site on Admin Ski Racing and what it looks like to go in and select the Midwest Masters Series, where you can find the races at Granite Peak to register.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's just like any website you might sign up for and create an account. It's just masters.adminskiracing.com. Create an account, put all the required information in there, and then all of the races will be found as you see here under that Midwest Masters button. So you can see that it's in blue there. So just make sure you click that. It will filter down to Midwest Masters events, which is where Nationals is this year. And then you can see the green register button there. You'll see all the Midwest Masters events for the year. So sign up for everything. But the Nationals events, you just scroll down, click the register button, and you'll have to do that for each of the events you want to compete in. So one thing that some may not know about is the fact that there are groups. So you'll see all of the races listed as Group A, B, or Group C, D. And you might not know which of those groups you race in, because you race in your age class and in one of those groups. You only compete against those in your age class. So are you in Group A, B, C, or D? How to figure that out? If you're in Group A, if your age is 18 to 49 as of December 31st this past year. Lauren, are you back?
all right, now can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
That was really weird.
Yeah, that was really weird. So I'll just finish this and then Lauren, you can take over. So Group B, if you're aged 50 to 64, I should know this by heart. It's
correct.
basically
64.
64, yep. So if you're aged 50 through 64, you're in Group B. If you're female, you're in Group C. And if you're older than 64, you're in Group D, as in dog, as in, I shouldn't say dog, as in downhill. So that's it. So you compete only in your group against other age classes in that same group. So yeah, we lost you somewhere like right after you signed in, Lauren, but Deb and I filled in. So I think we covered it.
Right after I signed in?
Yeah, after you kind of showed how you signed in and then went to race.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sorry. So that covers that piece. If you're ever looking for the information on our Masters page, we have all the major events here. I can quickly show the lineup here so you can see which events are on which days. And then do you have a schedule for training yet? We do have a basic schedule, right? Let's pull up the schedule.
Yeah, I just go look at that. I think we're just going to run them all simultaneously. Super G obviously on exhibition, and that will have a a thinned down race crew, but a full jury. We have a sanction for the training, so it will be, you'll be safe when you yeah. So, and then GS and slalom, I think we can run simultaneously on, because it's a very wide hill on Sundance, and we won't run the full length, but you can get your skis under, you get a feel for the snow.
Did we cover the question about the Super G being 2 runs, but that it's 2 races?
Yeah, no, not yet. So that's a great question. Yep. Yeah, we always run a combined 2-run Super G because of the vertical. So it's a combined time, just like a GS. So that's basically it. So we've got 2 Super G races. So that means 4 total Super G runs. Yep. So think of it as it's just scored just like a GS. But that second Super G race is not part of the nationals. It's a speed series race. As long as you're here, you want to do it anyways. I mean, it's fun. So yep, that's how that works. And not both are not scored towards the overall, just the first Super G.
Correct.
The second Super G is speed series.
Okay, so okay, so yeah, just a reminder to keep your eye on those deadlines. Get signed up by January 22nd if you can, to save yourself some money. But we will be taking registrations until February 2nd, which is a Friday. And then if you need to cancel, make sure you get it in by that January 29th. After that, it's usually kind of a partial adjustment. Yeah, book your lodging also as soon as possible. They still have room left. So
yeah, the restaurant is awesome. So if you're kind of a foodie, it's actually a really good restaurant. The pork chops are pretty good. So, and a great bar. A lot of people have asked about what skis to run. Lauren and I were talking about that earlier. So in terms of the Super G, so I'll just hit on it again. First of all, you got to hit the wax, just like pretty much any race, unless it's wicked steep the whole way, which this venue definitely is not. So wax is important. In the Midwest, you have a little more moisture in the snow. So, let that play into any selections you make. But yeah, there's definitely gliding in the GS and the Super G. So, a longer ski is good. And we do set the full radius. I mean, it'll be, 25, 27, well, depending on who sets. I mean, probably averaging 27-meter GS turns, and the Super G will be, 35, 40-meter turns. 20-meter offset or whatever. I can't remember what. We always pretty much set the same thing on that hill. But the way they blow the whale backs into the hill could have an effect on how it's set in the bottom. But you got to be fast on the bottom, so that wax makes a difference. So the training day is a good day to test that out. So bring some wax and see how it runs. But back to skis, I think for the Super G, I've run 201, 203 Super G skis on there, and that's worked. But I've also run longer FIS GS skis, and that's worked too. Kind of like the Ski Cooper downhill for those Masters racers who have done that versus say, Aspen, be it tie hack or Highlands. Wax is more critical at Ski Cooper than at those other venues. Here, for a GS and a Super G, wax is more critical. The snow is firm. It's typically very firm, especially on that pitch. So you'll get a lot of energy out of the ski. So sharp edges is pretty important too. That'll certainly be the case for the slalom as well. This is for those of you who ski out east. This is going to feel very similar. For those of you who ski out west or PNW, this might feel quite a bit firmer than you typically race on. So, which is we like it. It's awesome. The snow is always good, and Greg and his team do a great job of maintaining this hill. So.
So anyone who waxes knows you got to check the temperature as you get closer anyway, but do you have like an average or kind of what it typically ranges around?
Like air temperature?
Yeah.
Yeah, that time of year, Greg, what would you say? Teens?
Yeah, 20s or so. I don't think it's going to be in the teens. I think it's the last couple of years. It's been in the up low 20s or so for a high. You can definitely get some variable, but it's certainly not spring-like or anything like that. February is pretty cold here.
Okay.
And we will have warming tents put up too, up at the top.
Yes.
So that'll be nice. Wind chill can be a little crazy in the Midwest. So, but the hills.
Just hope it's warm today.
Sorry, Greg. What was that?
Just want it to be warmer than today.
Yeah.
I think that applies almost everywhere in the country today.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a ways out, but according to AccuWeather, we're looking at like 30 for a high each day and low teens overnight.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Just so keep that there, Greg, please. Thanks.
Won't refresh the page.
Don't refresh the page. Yeah. What else should we go over?
Well, so while talking about wax, just a reminder that no fluoros are allowed. You do not need to buy new skis. Try to, either get a grind or do some good cleaning waxes. But you should start either pitching your fluoros from your set of waxes, or just get some really fast free skiing in.
And even though there's water, I said there can be moisture in the snow here in the Midwest. Florals really don't help you much around here anyways. They didn't really help much on the snow here anyways. So that the newer waxes are, the old CH Swix, the hydrocarbon wax, actually was pretty fast on Midwest snow. That CH3 and CH4, those were good waxes in the Midwest.
Okay, good to know.
The
Yeah.
snow is a lot more abrasive than people are used to. I like to mix in a little bit of that Molly, that black stuff, as a base when I wax. And then you're going to find you need to re-wax more often. So if you're running the same skis for the GS and the parallel, you're going to want to re-wax in between, even if the temps are the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
protect against base burn.
Okay. Okay. So just a reminder on scoring, as we're coming up on the registration deadline, look online and see how many people from your division are going, and make sure you start poking your friends to get signed up, because the division's only eligible to compete for the Divisions Cup if they have 10 racers in their division. So let's see how many divisions we can get up to that 10 number. Traditionally, when it's in the East, it's more than once it's happened that we've only had one other division be eligible. So let's see if we can beat that. Make sure we get a full podium for the Divisions Cup at least.
Yeah.
Okay. And do we have any new questions? No. So we can go over some equipment reminders that you must have a FIS stickered helmet for the Super G, GS, and Parallel GS. The slalom, you can have a soft-eared helmet. Fuxi is planning to be on site and has helmets. So if you don't have one, he'll have some on site that you can try on, but it doesn't hurt to give him a call if you know what you want or you're looking for. or, you know, purchase one in advance, but make sure you have that lined up for yourself.
There was a question about bibs. I remember people asked about bibs. So there will be a bib issued to every racer that you'll turn in at the end of the event. So we use these bibs. These are created by our sponsor, A Racer's Edge, and we use them every year. So don't worry about bringing your Midwest Masters bib or your whatever your divisional bib is.
Okay. All right. I think I'm out of the topics that I had to cover. Any other questions?
What can you win? So there's a lot of stuff that any individual can win, and fill me in when I miss something, Lauren, because I'm sure I will. So first of all, for each of the events, of the 4 events, there will be a discipline medal by age, class, and gender. So everyone in each age, class, and gender, gold, silver, bronze medals, and they're super cool medals. You know, probably the nicest medals you can win as an amateur ski racer. We put a good chunk of money into these medals because we want them to be special, right? So that's one thing you can win. Then there's the Divisions Cup. You've all heard Lauren mentioning. A lot of people are familiar with what that is, those who have been doing Masters racing a lot. But the Divisions Cup is probably the most, I would say it's the most, the award with the most energy around it. So one division will win that Divisions Cup, and that's based upon the performance of your division, based on some scoring magic that Deb helps us do, based upon overall performance within your division. That's a big trophy. It's got a lot of years on it. The overall. So we've talked about the overall. So within each age class and gender, there's a first, second, and third place for the overall award, and that's a separate award across the 4 events, right, Lauren? Not just 3; it's all 4.
For the overall?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
The overall is just Super G, GS, and slalom.
Okay, I can never get that straight. So it's just Super G, GS, and slalom. The parallel GS doesn't count for the overall. So, but you have to obviously start all 3. And then there's a special award for that we give out that will have a local flavor to it. Then there's...
I would just add that for the overall, you actually have to finish all 3 to be eligible, because the race points are used to calculate. So you do need to finish.
Yeah. And yep. So that's the overall award. And then there's the national, the Masters national team. And that is basically the best racers across all age classes and gender at the event. And they are named to that, the national team. And is there a special award for that's been named yet or been identified?
For the National Masters team?
Yeah.
It'll be some kind of jacket, fleece type thing, same as it has been in the past.
Okay, with the embroidered or some kind of national team stuff on it. So pretty cool. That's a pretty cool item. What else? Did I miss anything?
So just both Super Gs will count for the National Speed Series. So the second Super G will hand out Speed Series medals. And to be eligible to win for Speed Series in your age class, the top 3 in each age class get a belt buckle. And to be eligible for that, you have to compete in 2 events. So which is like 2 locations. So this will give you 2 races here at Granite Peak. And then if you go to one other location for the Speed Series, you would be eligible for that, the awards for that as well, for the belt buckle.
And Speed Series races are obviously all over the country. There are no other Speed Series races in the Midwest. This is our only Super G venue at this time. So
yeah. that screen share go up?
No.
Here we go. There we go. So you can see here the full speed series calendar. It kicks off this weekend at Sun Valley. Deb can correct me if I'm wrong, but the latest I heard was that Mammoth is not going to be having any Super Gs. So it'll be Sun Valley to start, and then in the east for a couple weekends, and then Granite Peak, and then West Mountain, which is New York, in the Mid-Atlantic Division. Beaver Creek out to Colorado. That event is also the Western Regionals and the FIS Masters event. And then Schweitzer, Idaho in March. And the same weekend, we have an event at Gore in March. And at Gore, it's the Eastern Regionals. And then to the Far West Division to North Star, back to Rocky for Breckenridge, and then wrapping it all up at Mount Bachelor, which is where we had our nationals last year. And that was a great event. It's a super fun race trail.
I'll second that.
Yeah. And I learned from Rob this week that they don't really let people like free ski on Super G skis that trail a lot, because there's a lot of air that can be caught on the knolls. So they like to always have gates on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of terrain on that hill. And for those of you in the Midwest that might be listening in, that Breckenridge event is going to be a good one to go to. A lot of Midwestern or Midwest Masters racers are heading down for that. So right before that event, the 3 days, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the Tatry racers are doing their Polish championships. So some of us are going to be involved in that too. So that's going to be a blast.
Okay.
Same bib for all events was asked. Yep. Same bib that is issued to you, you'll use for every single event, and then turn in at the very end after your last event.
Okay, we will be using WhatsApp again for communication. So I did recently put that link. Let's see, is it in the fact sheet yet? Yeah, I can drop it in the chat here. But you'll wanna be on that WhatsApp. It helps a lot, making sure you get the latest information. It's a real quick way to look up the start list, and we'll post the results there and links to the live timing. It's kind of a one-stop shop for everything electronically. And then we'll also be posting in the hotel. We'll post start lists and results. So you can see that, but we don't do nearly as much paper as we used to. It's a lot more electronic, and then a posted copy. Okay.
What else didn't we cover?
So I will give all of our sponsors a quick plug. So our primary sponsor, of course, is Racer's Edge. They're in Breckenridge, Colorado. Big sponsors of Masters. They sponsor the National Speed Series as well, in addition to the National Championships. And they have race skis and do really great and a lot of boot fitting. We do a lot of great boot fitting. So then some additional sponsors we have that are supporting the event: the Granite Peak Ski Team, Rosignol, GS Tunes, Blackstrap, Third Space, Visit Wausau, Zevo Optics, Fast Wax, and Fuchsie Racing. So we'll have some swag from some of those in your bags. And be sure to, support and thank our sponsors whenever you see them.
And Fuchsie will be present at Nationals. So be ready for that. Prep yourself. And then another comment. Believe you folks are making an announcement about what's happening at the Nationals downhill now that it's been canceled at Mammoth. So yeah, Lauren, you kind of hit on that a little bit, right?
I don't have an announcement, just that the Mammoth downhill is canceled.
Okay.
That's the only update I have at this point.
We're working on.
We of course always have our ears open if we can pick something up, but that's all I will say at this point.
Okay. But we're working on it, right?
Yeah, it's always something we're, you know, always trying to get as many events and get them back when weather gets in our way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, sorry we couldn't get Facebook working. But if you have other questions, how do they ask us, Lauren?
So the nationals at usalpinemasters.org will get you the quickest answer. There's multiple of us that monitor that. And then of course, if you know one of us and you have our email address, you can certainly reach out to any of us to ask questions. So yeah.
Greg, did you have any comments to share?
No, it's really cold here right now, so we're blanketing the area with snow, kind of going from west to back east again. So exhibition is going to be and Sundance are both getting a heavy dousing of snow Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Going to be bolstering up the start ramp on Sundance, especially. All the B-net was taken down on Tuesday and will be put back up Thursday for that race venue. So there's going to be plenty of time for it to get kind of pristine for the event, and the same thing on Sundance. So we have a very, very cold week ahead of us, and we're actually using some older technology to make a lot of snow really quickly. So. So yeah, no, we're excited to have everybody out. My dog wants, so I apologize for the very high-pitched barking in the background. We have a puppy at home who just wants to play. So.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Okay. Well, look forward to seeing a lot of you in 3 weeks now, right? Or about 3 weeks out. So take care until then. Get out, stretch your legs, do some great skiing. No matter where you are, it seems like you might need to bundle up for the next week. So keep those toes warm. And have a great evening.
All right. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the hill.